Welcome to another episode of The Adventures of Danny and Mike, wherein the fellas discuss spelling bees, friend revenge, and belly dancing educators. All that and special guest Danielle Sepulveres. Now play the music, Munaki.
Hey, that's Jersey.
What a gimmick that was in the Nine Inch Nails Closer video. It's like you're watching, scene deleted this, scene deleted this, scene deleted. It's like, okay, I know my imagination is doing most of the work in this music video because I know I'm seeing some fucked up images, right, with the heart and the...
How is that, like...
You remember it says scene
yes,
deleted.
but it took, like, that's not in the forefront of my brain, mostly.
Well, he was just talking about Animaniacs, too, so...
Right, well, yeah, so the 1993, 94 is
90s
really...
kids will know.
90s kids.
Yeah.
Maybe we do a goth reboot of, or, an industrial reboot of Animaniacs where they're all goths.
Wow, that would be great. A closer video with the Animaniacs doing all the
I would
fucked up
watch
stuff.
that.
I would too.
Yes. And
Instead of coming out of the water tower, they're like coming out of a dungeon or some, industrial.
they live in like the Warner furnace.
We'll table that, but that might
Pig on
be
a spit,
might be $1 billion
but
idea.
it's really just Pinky in the brain.
Oh, God.
It's just...
Well, let's officially start the show now. Welcome to the Adventures of Danny and Mike. To my right, Mr. Danny Tamborelli.
Yes, that's me, and you hit the table.
I did hit the table. And to his right, Mr. Michael C. Morona.
Gonna hit the table once for me. Thank you, Jeremy.
And our guest for the entire hour, Miss Danielle Sepulveda. No. I knew I was going to screw
why
that.
would you
Sepulveda.
do that?
Sepulveda.
See, now I'm
You know
going to
why?
hit the table.
Yes,
You know
please.
why? Because when I go to L.A., I would always, to annoy him, say Sepulveda.
Oh.
Sepulveda.
I
Danielle
don't think he does it to annoy me. I think you just saw that he does it because he really doesn't know how to say the word.
Well, it's all...
Sepulveda.
And yours is a little off, but it's, you should just be able to look at it and just say it.
Sepulveda.
My brother got my mom really good when we went apple picking. He said you should try the corn mazzi.
No, he didn't.
Wait.
Oh, my God.
He told her to try the corn mazzi
Wow.
apples.
That's
What
really
about
good.
your mom joke? Where you just driving down the highway and you say hey, and you keep pointing, and it's just because you're seeing hay.
Oh,
from Ohio.
that is so cheesy.
That's
It's a real bad one, and he's done it
I'm
before.
not sure that's my joke, but maybe it is. Maybe that was a road trip thing that we experienced in the in the Midwest.
That's what happens. Yeah.
Speaking of,
I was just in the Midwest.
Ooh,
recently.
nice.
I was in Indiana, though, not Ohio.
We've been there quite a bit.
We were in
Were
the,
you in Whitestown or Brownsburg?
I was in Fishers.
there's
Okay.
Michiana,
That's in between.
the northern area,
Mm.
and then there's what is it, Kentuckiana? That's the southern area.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm making that second one up, but Michiana is a region we
Yeah.
drove through, which is the northern
Yeah.
part.
Northern.
Pennsylvania is real.
Because
too.
I didn't realize how close they are to Chicago.
So close.
Up there,
In
because
fact,
the first time I flew there, I connected in Chicago, and they were like, "Your flight is
Zoop,
like
zoop.
18 minutes."
Yeah.
And I'm like, 18 minutes? Like,
Guess I could have just driven
Yeah.
there.
I know.
can't you bungee us over one at a time?
You literally just go up and come back down. That was it.
It's aspirational.
Mm-hmm.
So you see the same people also on the way up as the way down. So that's the small airlines really keep you humble.
That's why I fly Spirit.
Oh Lord.
Oh boy, you don't do that, do you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I did it once, though, flying to Chicago, in fact.
Yeah?
Spirit.
Funny enough.
That's like that's like a big risk.
Funny enough, I had no problems with it. Not a
Until-
single problem.
Until
And the next day, there was like headlines about Spirit Airlines people like freaking out in like Fort Lauderdale, and like a big like incident happened at the airport. And I had just flown the airline, so I had to give them my email address. The next day, I got an email from them being like,
Don't bother.
Hey, no,
Everything's cool.
No, hey, right now, round trip, $49.99 to Fort Lauderdale and back. I was like, no, I don't think so. And I think your marketing's very skewed.
is that when we came back from the comic book convention? You didn't fly Spirit to
No,
Fort Lauderdale.
No. I'm saying I flew to Chicago, but I paid Spirit Airlines for that flight, and then they had my email address, and then they sent me an email saying,
Miss
come
Florida?
back and forth
Come on down.
after they've had an incident. That's why it's funny, Michael.
Oh.
Yeah, because it was cheaper. Obviously, less people wanted to go. They wanted to get people in butts in the seats.
Butts in the seats.
It's important. We were talking about butts in the seats before you got here.
We were.
Venues, no big deal. Union Hall.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I
You
said
do,
that Mike did my spelling bee and we sold out. We had 150 seats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
150 seats in Union Hall?
No, we were at UCB
Oh,
Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah,
Yes.
we took like 5 seats from Union Hall, and UCB had 145.
Well, I
So
was
we
just going to
just
say,
got
we're
together.
at like 130 seated. I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You had to, people were sitting on top of each other at Union Hall.
It was a lot of fun. I'm glad I didn't promote it very hard because Al sold all those tickets already. I would have had some
honestly-
disappointed people.
I was really surprised. Like I knew we were going to do pretty good. But when we first did it in LA, the theater there was like 70 seats, 75. And the first time we did it there, we did sell that out. So I was looking for 75 seats. I'm like, I know I can
That's
do
a good
75
optimism.
because I know even more people in New York. And then the day of, they were like, oh, you know, you're pretty much sold out. Because I think at that point they had 142 tickets sold and some people bought last minute. And some people didn't show up, but had bought tickets.
So we
and
kept
I was
their
like,
money.
I'm like, we sold out. So then I was like,
Double
I can come back and do this anytime, right? that's
That's the
usually,
deal.
That's usually what happens. Is, yeah, you sell all the tickets whenever you guys want to do it.
What? Tell us about the show, or can you talk about the
Yeah.
show? What?
The event took place several.
I have no idea what it is. Spelling
It's already
bee.
happened.
The event took place several Fridays ago. I think Dan had an event that same Friday night. Unfortunately,
I did because you invited me.
I did. I wanted both of you to play.
I would have given you my New Jersey public education good old try.
I was
I've
going
got
to
it
say.
too, don't
Oh, you
worry.
got it too?
I
Are you
got
from
it
New
too.
Jersey?
I
Yeah,
am,
we're
yes.
even.
What?
Oh, you guys
Where are
didn't
you
know
from
about
in
the,
Jersey?
what exit?
Bergen County.
What exit?
Yes.
Keep going.
Guess what?
We're there.
Guess who's
I
from
don't even
Bergen County?
that's the
We're
thing.
nailed, Bergen County.
I don't like have an exit off the
That's
Garden
okay.
State
No, you don't.
Parkway.
No.
If you do, you say it's 162 or something like
Yeah,
that.
something
which
like
is
that.
Really
That's but that's you're still 20
Yeah,
minutes
It's a place.
off.
It's a
still far.
placeholder
It's
because
still
then you
far.
gotta.
I'm an exit off of the Palisades Parkway, so I'm
Ooh.
different.
Okay.
I'm close to Alpine, where all the rich people are.
yeah.
Except
My sister went
didn't grow
to
up rich.
what's the all girls school there?
Holy
Angels.
Holy Angels, yes.
Yeah, my
Great
sister
name
went
for
there.
all
Yep.
those.
And
Yeah.
what was the name of their sports teams?
And my sister still has never been the same since.
The Holy Molies.
She's only been an angel those 4 years that she was in high school there. The rest of the time, I tell you.
Do they?
Closter. That's a
Closter.
weird town.
Yes, that is a weird town. They completely just redid part of it,
Okay.
and
The whole thing?
They had a really shitty strip mall like for the entirety of my childhood.
Mhm.
It was like a Kmart, a dollar store, like a half empty something or other.
Know it well.
Could have been half full.
A movie theater.
Sure.
And after many, many years of the town fighting things, there's a Whole Foods, there's a Home Goods, there's a Bear Burger, there's a Chipotle.
The future.
Ooh.
This stuff sells.
It's like, oh, hey, we're surrounded by a lot of very well-to-do people who live here. Let's give
Yeah.
them a place to shop so they
Yeah.
don't keep driving to Paramus.
You want to clip that mall traffic before
Clip
they.
the mall traffic. Tell Paramus it's big enough. It doesn't need anything else.
I was working on this commercial that everybody has heard about since Google just released it the other day online.
Oh boy, I knew that was yours.
With
I could tell that was a New Jersey mansion, McMansion.
with Macaulay Culkin in it, reprising some of his best bits from Home Alone. We shot it in, I want to say, why can't I remember? Bloomfield?
Sure.
And we shot a Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday. And every single time, Wazi, my satellite navigation app,
Oh wait.
Slash rapper.
Wazi,
Wazi.
sent me over the goddamn George Washington Bridge every time. Every time. He sent me over the goddamn George Washington Bridge. So I made that unnecessary trip north and saw these nice communities 3 times.
Well, sometimes it takes you that way because it's the path of least resistance, Michael. There's only so many tubes you can go into in the Lincoln Tunnel.
So many tubes.
You've got 2 levels
How
on
many
the George
tubes are
Washington
there?
Bridge.
Yeah, how many tubes are there, Dan?
4?
I'd say 4. 4's a good ballpark.
Aren't there 4
I
tubes?
think there are 3 tubes.
3?
And One of them goes both ways. One of them goes both ways the other way, and the other one is 1 and 1. That's the one you don't want to be in.
I don't want to be in
Yeah.
that
I hate
one.
being in the one.
Yeah, it makes you
lane
nervous. One. Oh, it makes you nervous.
Not,
Yeah.
not cool.
I do a thing where I always plan.
Close your eyes when you drive through.
Oh no,
Me
no, no! But I will.
It usually works, except for the 1 lane one.
I keep my eye out, especially when I'm in sort of the middle. Keep my eye out for the exits because I've always thought, well, if shit goes down,
How do I get out of here?
I'm gonna float to the top
well,
somehow.
you saw that Sylvester Stallone movie, Daylight, right?
Daylight.
I wouldn't see it because
Over the top?
I've
It's
been
all set in
driving
the
in and
tunnel.
out of New York City my whole life. That's the last thing I want to watch ever.
It's terrifying.
Thank you.
On my way to this commercial, I took the Queens Midtown Tunnel to the Lincoln Tunnel like a normal person. And I noticed that
Regional.
I've noticed that Cuomo, the governor, put these enormous like bank vault doors on the Queens Midtown Tunnel.
He's got them on all of them.
I swear to God, if you go
also-
through,
they're also in the battery.
Holland,
I had
and
not seen
Holland
them.
has them too.
I had not seen this before, but after apparently all our flooding and damage, there's something else that's going to get wrecked by the water when it does get flooded again. But we have these enormous like bank vault looking doors right before you go into the tunnel.
They're
Jeremy,
pretty cool,
For me, it's
actually.
like
keep an eye out for those.
that's
and
where I would float it. They
Yeah.
would shut them, and I'd just be in there floating around.
There's your
and,
exit. I'm saying that's where
trying
you
to
know
get water out of the top of the tube. Where's the
Guys,
exit?
it's buried underneath the river.
What is?
the tube.
The tube's never submerged ever.
What?
It's not submerged.
I'll be damned.
It's underneath.
At some point, it has
it's
to be
underneath the bed.
submerged.
No, it's not.
It's not wet. It's a
Not-
dry
there's,
tube.
There's a bunch of dirt above you, but it's mostly wet.
I didn't know that.
See, I
It's
didn't.
true.
I always think of a water death when I go.
It's true.
Never
Yeah,
a land
Me too.
death.
I never
Let's-
know a land death.
Let's revise your nightmare scenario,
No
Jeremy.
big deal.
That's kind of
They
how
were
I am
really
when I
smart.
fly, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Land
yeah.
death or
Yeah.
water death.
Yeah, which
I was gonna say, you want to choke on
take your
mud?
pick.
You want to choke on mud to death? You want to choke on water?
See, I mean, both sound horrible.
What do you want them to find in your lungs, basically?
Oh gosh,
This has gotten really morbid.
it's okay. It'll turn up. I'm sure.
Jersey people. This is amazing. We have had some Jersey people before, but not as nearly as illustrious as.
Well, in Bergen County, no less, because I'm from Wyckoff, New Jersey.
I know Wyckoff.
He named it.
One of my good friends moved back there, got married, and lives there now
Nice.
with the 2 kids and,
Yeah.
and the fixer-up house, and
Mm-hmm.
Living
the dream. Living that dream life.
I noticed that your road was kind of like curvy in front of your house.
My road?
Yeah. Am I thinking somebody else's house?
No, I had a pretty straight shot. My road is it's a cul-de-sac road. So
That's what I'm thinking of.
It's a one-way scenario. You can get out 2 ways, but if you drive all the way down, you're going to be making a circle.
Is it like the the Lincoln Tunnel there at the 2 lanes?
Man, this is so regional. We just lost Arkansas. Arkansas is totally not paying attention to anything that we're saying right now.
We could make it even more niche of an engagement if we talk about the film business that Jeremy,
That's true.
Jeremy, you, Elle, and myself have all worked on.
Yeah, Danny's never been in the film industry, which I think one of these days you'll get there, bud.
Yeah.
I said
believe
Jeremy,
in
you, Elle, and myself have all
Oh, I
worked
thought
on.
you excluded him, which I thought was
What,
funny.
Jeremy?
That was funny.
I did think you did
Jeremy.
too.
I mean, it happens.
You heard the silent parentheses. I have been developing this. This is crazy because you know how there's some things that like work very well in the written word that don't work spoken.
Yes.
I went to Myanmar and have been working on the hidden written parentheses for about 4 months.
Wow,
I meditated.
I've
I didn't
seen you a
talk to
bunch.
anybody.
It's crazy that you go all the way to Myanmar and back. And I
Astral-
don't know anything about it.
Astral projection, dude. I'm completely quiet the whole time.
Chilling
I'm there.
Adventures of Sabrina. You're watching it too, I guess.
I didn't watch any of those, but I feel it's good that we have to. I feel it's
Anyway, well, I'm just gonna pull up my glasses.
nerd glasses.
Nerd alert.
What's your fandom? Al, I remember when I saw you, was at the end of last year, you were up on Dietland, right?
Yes.
You were very big on Dietland. At that time, it was just being released.
Yes. I worked on Dietland.
I worked one day on Dietland,
You
I
did?
think.
Yeah.
Because I saw you I was doing base camp or something like that.
Okay.
Up in the Bronx.
Yes, that sounds about right. So yeah, it was mostly as usual behind the scenes, but they did give me a part on it as a porn star. So yeah.
And you were ready to
Choice.
work on the Deuce after
And-
that.
Well, it was just really funny because I thought I was getting fired because I left work and I got this call, and it was just a very serious so they just had a production meeting and we need to talk to you.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? Am
That
I
type
getting
of stuff.
fired?
Instagram was it the
was-
yeah?
If it's too serious for a text and I get a phone call.
And I'm thinking, oh my God. And honestly, I thought it was because the DP didn't think I was a good enough match for who I was standing in for. So I thought it was going to be just like a
Look,
nice
this isn't
firing.
this isn't working
like
out.
we're
Right.
so sorry.
Sure.
We really like you, but
We just want somebody with a crew cut.
Yeah, like something like that, like a true redhead, something. And
I hear it all the time.
They said, so in the next episode, there's this part. Do you know who Stella Cross is? Because the show's based on a book. And I was like, oh yeah, I read the book. I know who Stella Cross is. And they were like, so they were talking about having you play Stella Cross. And she's a very polarizing character in the book because of what happens to her, which I won't give away. But
Spoilers.
but also there's a lot of very sexual stuff about her in the book, so I was like, oh shit, like how am I like
And this wasn't for network either.
and also I'm thinking, wow, like what vibe am I giving off at work? that they just like had a meeting and we're like, hey, you know what, let's ask her to do it.
Pushing around a bunch of Polaroids on a table.
Unbelievable.
Because Mike has worked with me, I'm pretty quiet at work, so I just
think
thought
she
it
gives
was really
it-
funny.
Sure.
You
But
know,
they considered you. Go ahead.
yeah, and and not to say porn stars can't be quiet. Of course, they can be quiet. They don't have to be very extroverted human beings.
It's 2018 for God's sake.
But I was thinking, oh man, what video of mine got loose on the internet? I think I'm like really concerned about this. And also I just was like, wow, I don't know that I have the right look for this, but they put me in this blonde wig
Okay.
and they gave me a fake tan and the makeup. I'll show you a photo afterwards because I really transformed into a different person because I sent a photo to my mom after we did the makeup.
And she
hair. She said, who is that?
Classic Franny.
It took her a minute and she goes, oh my God, it is you. And so that was actually what was fun about it too, because I really did feel like a completely different person, which, you guys know, you're actors. It's a,
So there was a part of that character that felt
Yeah.
like
Mike never wanted to say, Kevin, you're such a disease.
I had to be convinced.
Yeah.
it's such a great line.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Had to do it and then do it again in the flashback version.
In the flashback.
Like the flashback version, I was like this far from the camera. I'm like, I almost could have like grabbed the matte box and shook it type of thing. And I'm just like,
Did they like play the first version for you?
No,
There was no matching whatsoever.
No. Chris Columbus was just like, be mean.
Be mean.
I think he was something like that. Yeah.
Oh, when we never even explained the spelling bee, but so when we did the spelling bee, I actually introduced him in a way so that a joke made sense.
There was
because I had thought it was going to come out in the intros in a funny way, and then it didn't. So I literally grabbed.
because
the
I didn't
microphone.
introduce myself properly.
Well, but also we were just a little bit like loose and all over the place with the intros, which was super fun. But then as we started, I go, oh my God, people aren't going to get this joke, and like this joke is really funny if people know who Mike is.
I need to connect the dots.
I just like
Attention!
Yes, that's literally what I did. I grabbed the microphone. I'm like, I just want to say a couple things about some of the people playing, and then
My ears got red.
yeah, I was like, I'm sorry to embarrass you right now, but I'm like, so that's Mike Morona, and he was in Home Alone. I'm like, that's it. That's the whole thing. He was in Home Alone.
That night was like the 28th anniversary of Home Alone coming out.
right,
That was what
yes.
it was. And so as soon as you pointed me out, I mentioned that because I was like spring loaded on my tongue
Yeah.
to have that.
It was perfect, and I was like, who feels old now?
You collected quite a collection of characters that night. I'm trying to remember the guy all in Rutgers gear.
Oh, Dominic.
Dominic was sharp. He was on it. You know him from Jersey, obviously, because
yeah.
he was covered in Rutgers gear.
I mean,
I'm on
you
the-
would think that a person covered in Rutgers gear would be from New
I'm
Jersey.
on the stage with Elle, Maris Kreitzman, Josh Gondelman, Akilah Hughes, two sisters, who are child actors.
Oh.
Broadway girls, yeah.
Okay.
Broadway girls. Sam is the host, and a bunch of people that you properly recruited, whose names I can't remember right now.
Sunita Deshpande.
Sunita Deshpande, who was in
Daredevil.
who was and from Florida, great person,
Very funny.
And then there was other
Bethany Kay, who she
our
was
eventual winner, Bethany Kay,
who was on Dietland. She had sort of a bit part. She's done a lot of work, and she's an opera singer, but she had this very small part in the first episode of Dietland that kind of just blew her up because it was a very memorable scene. You know how that happens. Like somebody does a cameo in an episode. People are like, who is that person? Because that was awesome. Like that was her. That
was how we created David Johansen, actually. He had a cameo in Pete and Pete, and then after that decided to start a band.
A little band.
I think that's I think
is it backwards? I got it backwards. All right, next
But
time.
he did do Scrooged. Yeah.
I think you should take credit.
No charge. We shot all over New Jersey, but that one I think we shot in Staten Island at the Boy Scout camp.
Oh,
interesting.
My God.
That is true. And you were just there, and you sent me a picture in the overlooking the beautiful pond that we shot at.
Did you guys have to do any kind of a chemistry test together when you auditioned?
Yeah, we had to make out.
Yeah.
It was
7 and 11-year-olds making out is not fun, but Nickelodeon required it.
Yeah,
It was
Nickelodeon.
required.
I heard that's like in their bylaws.
It is.
They never.
You guys want to be brothers, huh?
Yeah.
Kiss.
They never aired the tape for some reason.
They're that kind of a show.
It was, we're that kind of. Well, we're not going to go that far, but we just want to make sure that you kids can go that far.
Not even at the.
That's terrible.
Not even at the.
That didn't happen.
Not even
Jerry
at the,
Laybourne would never let that fly.
At the trust building exercises at the holiday Nickelodeon retreats were we ever encouraged to kiss. Is that
Only
accurate?
to the grand opening of the Viacom store in Chicago.
That's what it was. Yeah, they
They're
flew
like,
us out.
Yeah, kiss
Just
now.
kiss. Yeah.
This podcast is going to make Nickelodeon have to issue a statement, being like,
saying,
we never
asked them to kiss. It was
Elle loves the concept of me generating corporate responsibility because of the Verizon tweet.
Oh, the Verizon tweets are so good.
Tweets are amazing.
They're so good.
It makes me so happy to watch all those people. I know it's died down now, but it recirculates every once.
You tried to bring it back up, saying you worked for another company recently.
Yes, I did. Didn't work. You were saying didn't work.
But no, it was so great seeing all these people just get so angry.
Steamed, man. It's like a steam generator.
And it was just, if you even stopped and thought about this for a second, you would know that this is all bullshit, but you're not smart enough to figure it out.
It's like we
It's
could
so bad.
we could solve the energy crisis with outrage if properly applied.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
The
Think about
Monsters Inc. sort of way.
just boiling a turbine above people's heads and steam, and it drives a wheel and
However hard you hit you hit your iPhone
my keywords.
while you're.
oh Lord, yeah, haptic response.
All right. Well, that's like 5 kilowatts there. Look at his fingers go.
We could save, the planet.
It easily we could reduce emissions.
Wow.
I think so.
What?
What's wrong, Jeremy?
Nothing. I don't know. He said emissions and then pointed to me. For whatever
I
reason.
wasn't.
He's
Well,
a
that's fart joke.
vegetarian.
It's
Elle.
a fart joke.
Okay.
He's a vegetarian, Elle, but I know that you enjoy eating, and so do I. Just from this is just from the online curating of. Occasionally, Elle will say, I don't know why I'm awake, but occasionally Elle will say at midnight, like, I need a cookie right now. And I don't know if I had this notion that I would share it with everybody online. So kudos to you. I'm not a kudos giver. So
I appreciate it.
I am in awe of your ability to be online and honest about yourself at times.
Well, you know what I've noticed about Twitter that's funny is, so I'm over 10,000 followers now. And
We get 2 in the room.
oh, well, look at us.
Yeah.
Over the
Couple check marks. Couple check marks up in the
10K
house.
club.
Yeah.
But I was under for so long, and I'm still like, I mean, even just a little bit over 10, I still feel like a person who's very much under the radar, because God knows how many of those are bots or whatever. I didn't pay for them though, and
The bots are on strike, I guess.
but the funny thing is when you get, for me anyway, maybe it's different for a dude, but when you get to a certain amount of followers, something like that you would just tweet, and maybe 5
A
people
cookie,
would
right.
be like, oh, I want a cookie too or whatever.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, after 10,000 followers, you say something like that, and you are the most annoying person in the world.
You are.
And I recognize this, and I think it's really funny because I don't care. I'm still going to keep saying
Oh,
it.
you're not
But-
censoring yourself
No,
about it.
but he's right. I'll say something like, oh, I can't sleep. I'm totally going to have a cookie.
Yeah, I'm jealous of her ability to have a cookie at that time. Well, also, I figure you live in Manhattan or something
Yeah,
where you can
but-
just order cookies
Right.
willy-nilly.
Or, you think about it on your way home from work and you're like, I know I'm going to want this later and I'm going to get one.
Go handle your business now.
Sure, that's
But
smart.
it's really funny because now people are like, fuck you. Like, you can't have,
really?
like, yeah, people are rude
okay.
about it.
All right.
Or they'll just write, nobody cares. And I'm like,
You follow me.
I
Why do
know.
you obviously care?
and I'm like, when I had 8,000 followers, people cared.
Yeah.
Now
What-
that I'm
what's
over
diff-
10,
what's
people are like,
different?
you suck.
So,
I don't know.
So you're cognizant of that in the way
Yes.
that you interact.
or
online.
I guess because it was just a smaller group of people interacting, and a lot of them are people that I do actually know in New York. And
I was
Well,
going to say.
Facebook says you can only know 5,000 people tops.
I was going to say,
That's all you can
I feel
do.
like you can get away with some of that stuff because there's like, it is midnight in New York and you want a cookie, but there's a lady in LA and it's 9:00 and she's like, I get it.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I understand this woman wants a cookie right now.
I mean, that's all I'm asking.
You just need one person to say, "Oh, me too," and then you've done well.
It's a
Your
movement.
tweet is-
It's a movement after
You've
that.
sufficiently helped somebody, or like had somebody like, "Yeah, I know what I know all about it," and
It's the validation.
that's like that's that one little bit of validation that you get that you can move on with your tweet
So,
until you tweet the next thing that someone's like, "Fuck you."
You're an asshole.
I know your band has a show on Saturday. I know, dude.
Yeah,
That's what I get. It's like,
That's what you get.
yeah, I'll get like, yeah.
we've already heard.
Sorry, I'm in Arkansas. Can't go, but thanks for telling me about it.
you
It's
just-
like,
we-
guys, come on.
Dude, we lost Arkansas already
I
when we
know.
were talking about the
I was
tunnel,
trying to
so.
bring him back.
That's why he was
Nice
saying
try.
I was
Arkansas, 'cause
trying
he
to
knows
bring
they're
him
not
back.
listening anymore.
That's right. Yeah, I can just jab at him the entire time.
You're filling all of your toxicity right into
Gosh.
Arkansas.
Ozarks.
Sorry, Arkansas.
Cares.
I drove right through. I don't. Where did I stay? Probably Little Rock.
How was it? That's where Bill Clinton is from. Isn't it?
The roads are terrible as soon as you cross from Oklahoma into Arkansas.
Mm.
I guess the roads are also bad when you cross from Texas into Oklahoma, though. So how could I tell?
Texarkana,
Yeah, it's like the Michiana region.
the Michiana region.
You grew up in a metropolitan area with many municipalities against each other, like the Sopranos.
You got public transit that can take you right into the
heart
greatest city in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Did you grow up wanting to live in
Cincinnati?
New York your whole life?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
You did.
I did. It's funny though, because there was a period of time where I didn't like New York, but that was because my job was in Jersey. I was living in Hackensack. And so
You resented it.
when I came into New York, it was a process. It was such
It was a rigmarole.
Yeah, it was such a to-do to like get in and out. And so, but because also for some reason I was stupid and I drove and,
Hackensack, you just get that Anderson Avenue.
take the train
NJ
or-
Transit. You're right there.
Or jump on a million different
We're-
buses.
we got
Like,
regional again.
We
Damn
got
it.
regional, sorry.
Sorry.
But we used to drive, or like someone would drive, and it was just between the traffic and trying to find a parking spot, or like paying to park, and it just being a whole thing. I just remember I would always drive back across the George Washington Bridge and be like, "Oh, thank God!" Just like breathe a sigh of relief to be out of there. But once you're in the city and you're not dealing with it from this outsider capacity,
And the beat drops.
and the beat drops. It's a much different feeling, and then all of a sudden, I think it hits you like, wow, I really love this place. Like this place rocks, and it's so good. And yes, of course, like any place it can drive you crazy, but anywhere you live is going to drive you crazy at certain points because
Yes.
it's where you live.
Sure.
And yes, the trains are terrible.
Oh man, everybody's learning that every day.
Yeah, but in general, like people dream of living here. It's
true.
pretty great.
So some of us are living the dream right now. Jeremy's living.
That's what you call it.
Jeremy's living the dream in another way right now.
Yes, I'm really proud of him.
Yeah, we all get to carve out our little niches from. I was going to make some sort of comparison to the acorn woodpecker, but it's
I
not.
thought you were going to start rhyming niche. I was waiting for quiche to come out.
Really?
I was like
How many rhymes are you going to get from after that?
I don't know. Niche, quiche.
Yeah, and you've rhymed yourself into a corner.
Have,
Yeah.
like a final round of the spelling bee where we just start rhyming the words instead of spelling.
I would have had fun.
Wow.
I would have had fun. I feel like you gave me some tough words because you knew I was smart.
Oh yeah. Can we?
did.
How did this guy fare? How
He
did he
did
do?
really well.
Did I get any words wrong?
I don't think you did.
I just didn't spell them as fast as some other
Yes,
people.
he had fun
We
with
went to a
them,
lightning.
but
Went to a lightning round.
But that was the point, and that's actually back
He was
to-
there for the humor.
I still haven't explained what it is, and you asked me like 20
That's all
minutes
right.
ago.
I just want the listeners to know and come check it out next time it's in their city.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
actually, February 15th is the next
Ooh,
one.
there you
so
go.
it's
You
going to
should
be a
definitely-
very
yeah.
special
In which city?
day in New York.
Nice.
Very special day after Valentine's Day
Ooh, very
themed
nice.
special.
Back at UCB or
Back at UCB,
Can you spell heartbreak?
HEARTBREAK.
That's right.
It's SEPULVERES.
How about aluminum? That's the
that's
tough
sweet.
one.
Aluminium.
Aluminium.
Mike, I
If
had
you
this.
break it up, yeah.
We had this physics teacher in high school that was English, and he said aluminium. And then after he said a lot of other things, he was particular. After we get out of high school, my friend implies to me that he was Lewis Carroll's boyfriend when he was younger.
What?
That's a guess because he was English. I don't know who did the research. What?
Wow.
That's all I know about I don't know much about my physics teacher.
My
Seems like you
English
really just
teacher
wanted to believe that quickly.
Got
Yeah,
in
that's true.
trouble for
I was willing.
being a part-time belly dancer.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
In the city or in Jersey?
in Jersey, she did private parties, and
Oh.
a parent ended up at one of these parties and went to the school. And also, you know what? Fuck you. Like, teachers don't get paid a lot. Let her do her
Yeah.
side hustle and
Yeah.
make some money.
Did she
and-
come straight from that to parent-teacher conferences and not change?
I don't think so, but they said that
Billy's
it wasn't-
having trouble concentrating.
I know you're saying it was. I know you're saying it was a parent, but we know it was a dad.
Oh, totally.
we know it was a dad.
Oh, you know what?
and how could the dad not keep his
Actually,
damn mouth
you know what?
shut?
Now that I think about it, I
Bachelorette
don't know that
party.
I ever knew for sure who said it, but it could have been maybe a dad saw her and told his wife, not the wife. Right? 'Cause doesn't that sound like
Yeah.
how it would go?
Classic
'Cause,
dad.
like,
Classic pillow talk screws everything
Right.
up.
What dad would like go? I mean, a dad would, but
It's
he'd
like
have to
that
be a real
classic,
loser dad.
Princess Cashmere episode of The Simpsons where Bart has the spy camera. He gets a picture of his Homer dancing with the stripper on the
Oh,
table.
God, I do
The blackmail, the blackmail picture.
Yeah.
It's
I remember the blackmail picture.
yeah. I mean, we have different ways, I guess, that we express group morality, and this was one example of that.
Honey, this is not my gold bell, okay? It wasn't mine. It fell off the belly dancer. That was, the belly dancer.
The belly dancer.
Oh, the belly dancer.
You know, she teaches English up at the high school.
No, she's got. Yeah,
That's so
got a good head on
terrible.
her
The
shoulders.
Poor
Actually,
teacher.
Do you want to know the kicker?
Yes.
Is that they made her stop doing that, okay? Because that was not appropriate. However,
Oh, no.
she and I love her.
Unbeknownst.
Like, she wrote me the greatest college recommendation. So I say this with all the love in my heart because I think she's awesome. She was married and our vice principal was married, and then they started having an affair with each other. They both divorced their spouses and remarried
Each
and-
other.
And I guess because he was the vice principal, they couldn't be like, we're whatever. But you don't
They
let her
kept
be
it
a
a
belly
secret?
dancer, even though that's not even happening in the school.
They-
Everybody knew
They
about
kept it a
it.
secret.
Well, because
Oh.
her name,
Everybody
she had a
knew
different last name, and then all of a sudden she came back the next year and had his
Same last name now. Yeah, gotcha.
Like, what's worse, like diddling a student or like dating a student or like being a belly dancer after hours?
You
Like,
can
what's
date-
the harm?
you can
Because
date.
there were definitely people diddling students.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can date and you can diddle, and those are two different things, sir.
No, I'm saying either one is worse,
Yeah.
in my opinion, than
get you.
belly
We
dancing.
had a classic gym teacher in
you
my
had-
high school
yeah.
that was.
I feel like everybody
diddling
has
kids.
one class.
I thought you said it was a
teacher,
belly
right?
dancer.
Gross. I don't
Yeah.
want to even think about that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
I think
It happens.
Saying when you saw my gym teachers,
our
you would
gym
understand.
teachers were okay. I don't think it was our gym. I mean, also who knows? But
Who
as
knows?
far as I knew, our gym teachers were pretty cool. I think it was a math teacher at my school.
God.
Yeah.
Always the
Because
worst.
they were calculating everything. They were just weighing his options. The only other worst teacher would be the statistics teacher.
Oh.
So he's just, statistically, I could do this 72 times before someone's going to catch me.
Wow. Wow.
In the teachers' lounge.
This is.
Oh no.
I
That's
feel
terrible.
like I feel like you are a terrible person to make as an enemy because of
Me?
your writing and online
Oh.
presence.
Thank you.
But just again from some tweets that you made about
Things people have done to me.
no, this is a very specific. This is a very revenge for sure.
Yeah.
But there are
Tell everybody everything.
there's a very specific vein that L tweets in, which is if you're if true friends will know other people who have done me wrong and be rude to them as well on my behalf.
It's true. And I don't even ask for that. It just happens. Actually, I think one of my favorite stories of it, this girl who I hadn't seen in years texted me. She was in Denver, Colorado, and ran into a guy at a party, and he was like talking about something, and something jogged her memory. And she's like, "Wait, what's your name?" And he was a guy who had like borrowed money from me and my roommate a million years ago, never paid us back, and had been like a total freeloader. And so she starts bringing up all the stuff that he did at
What
this
about-
party in
yeah.
front of people, and he was getting so embarrassed, and she was just doing it very like just
Playfully?
just casually, like, wait, didn't you do this?
That's
and
a
then
good
you
friend.
went to a wedding with like this other. He didn't go. He went to a wedding with my roommate and behaved like a complete awful person, and like just did really embarrassing, humiliating things, and thought he was being funny. You know, like he was
that
like
old
that,
hat.
that guy, yeah.
Ugh.
And so she's bringing up all this stuff, and everyone's going, "Oh God, you did that?" And he's like, "No, I don't think I would have done something like
Doesn't
that."
sound like something I'd do.
Man.
And she texted me, and I'm only mad at him because he used to just borrow money all the time until I finally had to, not
Stop.
Yeah. So I'm just like, actually, this feels like great karma right now
Yeah,
because I
it's a lot of
never got my
come
money
arounds.
back, but at least
Right.
he got humiliated at a party.
Yeah, and you can't put a price on that.
You cannot put a price on that. Oh,
I had a guy short me when I quit the film industry for a little while and thought I wanted to be a chef back during the chef craze of
Yeah.
the 2000s.
I was going to say 2000,
Yeah.
2004?
hey, millennials are baking bread now. That's
Oh,
what
they
the
were.
New York Times says.
Really?
So, yeah.
Yeah, this is why bakeries are going out of business.
But this guy, he was a really shady guy, and he ran a restaurant, and
You could say vegetarian
I
restaurant.
don't think it was vegetarian. Maybe it was. It was called World something. So it definitely was
even
vegetarian.
shadier.
And I would cook like breakfast and lunch, I think, and he shorted me a month's pay.
Oh my God.
And one day I was upstate doing something on another job. I went back to the film industry and was in a market of some prop shopping. And this motherfucker walks out the door and he starts to do the thing where it's like, "Oh, I
Hey,
recognize
what's
you."
going on with you?
And something's flipped in me. It was like, "Where's my money, motherfucker?"
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
he's like, "Oh, that was all supposed to be taken care of. You guys took me to the thing." And no.
And immediately knowing
yeah.
what happened is
Yeah.
immediate
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
guilt just
Yeah.
pouring
Exactly.
out of you, being
Totally.
like,
So you overturned a table in the market,
That's
right?
right.
You were like Tuscan market going down.
But my buddy Matt was there because he was assisting on the job, and he was like, "I've never seen you like that, man. That guy's twice as big as you. What
Awesome.
are you doing?"
Awesome. You
I
wanted
was
your
so
money.
pissed. I was
You
like,
want your money.
He was reported to like the Better Business bureaus and all that stuff, and he never paid up. He basically the whole entire crew for that month got nothing. And there's like six
my
people.
God.
In the
Aggravating.
It's, you know what? I've always waited for those kind of moments sometimes. Yeah, I mean, not even consciously, but all of a sudden when you can rectify a situation, there's I'm going to be honest here. So I've been waiting. Maybe I'll use this podcast as my moment. But so years ago, not that many years ago, but I was humiliated on a segment of a late night talk show. And I when it happens, I didn't even have like publishing credits to my name. And Mike knows I've written. I can't even speak right now. I'm a great writer.
She's
and I
written
can't
for the
even talk.
Washington
Yeah.
Post. You've seen her a few times.
I've written for the Atlantic and Cosmopolitan and Self Magazine and lots of other great places. But I was like unknown, and they didn't say my name, but anyone who knew me knew that they were talking about me on the show. And it was so embarrassing. Like my phone blew up for 2 days because it was just friends and family being like, yo,
Because they saw you.
because they saw it wasn't me. They just talked about me in like a really, really humiliating way. Like
Because of something you'd written?
No, I hadn't written anything yet. So the scenario is this. I had dated a writer on the show. And then a year later, and he completely, dumped me. He had like I didn't break his heart. He had no ill will towards me whatsoever. Like, and I didn't even have it towards him, which I should have. And
In hindsight.
And then, a year later, I was seeing somebody else who was occasionally a guest on this show. And so the writer decided to do this whole slideshow, basically saying he had slept with me first, to kind of like, it was supposed to, in his words, be a bit and like embarrass the guy I was currently dating. But instead it was really just horrible towards me.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of women in that writer's room. And I'm like, who approved this? Like, who said this was okay?
Yeah, why don't you back me up?
And they sprung it on the guy that I was dating, because usually he gets the rundown of like what the show's going to be.
Not this time.
So they did it, because he looked like a deer in headlights when it aired, because he called me the day of and he's like, oh my God, this just happened. And I was like, what? Like, I lost my shit. And I kept being told like, oh, it's just funny. Like, you'll find it funny. So I couldn't watch it for like 3 or 4 weeks until it aired. And I was dying because I'm like, oh my God, like
you have time to ferment in that and percolate in that time and get total nightmare.
And it was just as bad as I thought it would be. The only thing that would have made it worse is if they had said my name, which they, wouldn't be allowed to do, or, but I also heard from someone who worked there that they had wanted to say where I worked. Like, so that someone
someone could actually like do a little 4chan.
Yeah. And I was like, that's really fucked up. And so, so like to this day, I'm always like, you know what? I those people deserve so much fucking revenge for that, because, I see especially like one of the writers on that show, she's always on Twitter, like being like ultra feminist and women and don't
back me up, babe.
And I'm like, yeah, thanks for slut shaming me 4 years ago. Like, you were completely in favor of that because nobody vetoed that. Like, clearly nobody vetoed it. Yeah. So yeah. So now I'm talking about it here.
You're getting it off your chest.
I'm speaking my truth on
Do
the
it.
podcast.
No, please. That's what this is for. That's what this is for. We've all spoken truths here before.
I definitely have come clean on a few things here on the pod, and Jeremy and I have come clean on some things.
Yeah. This is the...
we used to have tension, and it's less tense now.
We hated each other.
Really?
No, we love each other.
I wouldn't put it that way.
Did Danny mediate it?
Danny was always the middleman. He was always in the middle.
He was always the stepmom.
Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. Now let me talk to both of you.
He was really a stepmom. He was good.
That's a very Jersey way of handling things.
Yeah. It just did.
Throw in some Taylor ham and
toss a tower.
You take this? Yeah.
Some people call it pork roll.
I know,
but that's not our country.
We've learned.
No, that's not our country.
Yeah. You got to change your money if you want to go there.
Speaking of Jersey, someone was talking the other day about how in movies and TV shows, people do Southern accents really badly, like just very over the top. And I'm like, while we're on this subject, people do New Jersey accents terribly in TV shows and movies. They sound like Staten Island.
They blow it out of proportion.
Yeah, they blow it out of proportion. They talk like how they just assume people from New Jersey talk. And listen to us. We don't sound like that.
No, I know, but we haven't talked about coffee.
You guys have to raise awareness.
Coffee,
dog, talk.
I
think the more that you're like, oh, let me tell you how I say this word. You're gonna like really push hard on it.
So you're gonna overthink it in some ways.
It's and also there's different parts of Jersey because you hear it in different. There's Southern Jersey.
Yeah, the parts where they say
almost like
wooter.
Philly or
they say wooter. They don't say water. They say wooter.
Oh, it's a hoagie. We call it a hoagie. We know where you're from.
Yep. when I went to college down in Delaware, and so I was a mix of Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So
mostly.
my cousin went to the University of Scranton.
Okay.
I thought you were
And
going to say Delaware.
no.
You're like,
no, I mean go Game Hens or whatever.
Blue Hens.
Yeah, Blue Hens.
Nice try.
And she was at a bar in Scranton, and some guy's like, "You have perfect teeth." I'm not with my cousin at the bar. This is just an anecdote related. I'm like, and then when you just said you went to school in Delaware, I'm like, wow, what did they say to you when you went out in Delaware? They're like, you from Jersey?
Wait, was I supposed to go out in Delaware?
No.
No, I'm kidding. There was
what do you
nothing
do?
to do in Delaware. We went to fraternity parties on campus. The football house was a big place to hang out.
No.
sure.
There were a couple of bars.
Did you go to Trolley Square? Isn't that like the big? Isn't that or no? Where you're?
Wilmington?
Are you in Newark?
Newark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. You want to hear actually it's not that funny. It's I was gonna say the funniest thing. I don't know why you say that when it's not that funny. But it's a super dad joke. And so my cousin went to University of Delaware too, many, many years after me. And I went with her to her orientation, and they were telling the same joke at orientation for her that they were saying
To
at
you?
my orientation.
You found yourself telling it
and
along with.
I was sitting there. I'm like, oh my God, in like 10 years, they haven't gotten a new joke. And here's the joke. The joke is
It
this.
turns out she tap dances.
Yeah. So the joke is, and I don't even know what do they call them? The chancellor or whatever,
Sure.
the head of the college.
Sure.
The comptroller of
I feel like
Chancellery.
chancellor's a very like National Lampoon's kind of word.
Yeah.
Like not an actual
You see,
thing.
we threw Chancellor Graves in the
Commodore.
in the back room.
Double
slapped
secret
him around with
probation.
Crisco.
Exactly. He's
Yeah. So he's talking about how people get confused with Newark, Delaware, and Newark, New Jersey, and that there was a family that was visiting the school, and they were, talking about it over lunch, and they asked their waitress, "Where are we right now? Can you say it to us?" And the waitress says, Burger King. And I'm like, first of all, the joke doesn't work because there's no waitresses in Burger King.
There's no
And
waitresses in Burger King.
second of all, they've been telling it for
Busted.
10 years.
busted.
Yes. And it was,
It's
had
Newark.
such secondhand embarrassment.
You were vicariously embarrassed for
Yes.
your cousin.
And my cousin's like, no, they didn't tell that joke 10 years ago. I'm
Yes.
like, yes,
Yes,
they,
they did.
certainly did.
They just wore Jenkos.
It's
Well,
in
they
the
did it.
Chancellor Handbook. When all else fails, use this joke. It slays.
It was also terrible because when I went to school there, it wasn't long after that couple had gave birth to a baby and like threw it in a dumpster
Oh, Lord.
down there. That
Yeah.
was like a huge, because they were from Jersey.
They went to my high school.
They were from Wyckoff. That's right.
They talk about Peterson,
Amy Peterson,
right? And Brian Peterson.
Brian Peterson. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
I have a
That's
sticky brain.
No, that's a very sticky brain. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
the
was a
sticky brain.
very that shook the walls of the community of Wyckoff.
It did.
Yeah,
I
bro, that's
remember,
fucked up.
well,
It's
because I
fucked up,
remember
yeah.
all those stories in the Bergen Record. We're going very regional again. Sorry.
That's right.
But there was
That's so crazy.
that's
Wait, did the baby
and-
die?
yeah.
Yeah. What do you?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't. They could flourish in a dumpster. There's food and warmth and
This is not a mold. This is a
Shelter?
anyway.
They renamed, from what I had heard, they had renamed the diner in front of that because there was a hotel with like a little diner attached to it and the dumpster, I guess, somewhere
Right.
around there. And like the name of that diner was something like Mother's Nest or like something
Oh,
something
boy.
like very awful and which made for terrible headlines. I'm sure
Ironically
Yikes.
named.
I'm sure the New York
Yikes.
Post actually made some
That was-
really
yeah,
New York
yes,
Post-esque
yes.
headlines with
Oof.
that. Because then I remember when I got down, like I had seen the college like a couple of years earlier, seen that diner, that happened, then went down to school there and it was all of a sudden called the Blue Hen Diner. Like it totally changed the
Does
name.
it?
which is still
It's
a
like-
little motherly.
Yeah.
though.
It is. It's still, but
It's the
yeah, and it was across the street
Under the
from,
radar.
the
Yeah,
football
yeah.
stadium. So I guess they were like
the university had to do
maybe-
something about it.
Oh,
the
my
mom and
God.
pop Mother's Nest. Look, we're gonna take you out of this,
Yeah.
okay?
Wow.
It's-
Smooth it over.
Terrible. You know what? I kind of want to go back and read the article that was written because I feel like that was kind of the beginning of reporting on stories like that, where like these well-to-do rich white kids who got pregnant and then we're throwing babies away, like instead of,
Yeah.
because they were too afraid to tell their parents. And it's like, my God, like, how are you that afraid to like that this is your alternative, that you can't
It was
go to
nuts.
Planned Parenthood and get an abortion or give it up for adoption or keep it, like those are way better options.
Yeah.
All three
Yeah.
of those.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
Jersey.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have there's so much pressure with
Yeah.
rich kids like that.
It's
and
true. I mean,
their whole
Yeah, we grew up around them. I know.
I'm glad that my parents were smart and kept me grounded as a kid and not like got all crazy.
You were grounded like 5 days a week.
I was
Perpetually.
perpetually grounded for doing stupid shit, but that's why I play bass, because that's what I just sat in my room and just was like, okay, fine, I'm grounded. Well, I'm going to play my bass.
Going to play scales.
And now I'm going to go to college for bass. Good job, Mom and Dad. You want to hear a good dad joke about basses?
Yes.
Okay, what's the difference between a bass player and a large cheese pizza?
I don't know.
A large cheese pizza can feed a family of 4. I don't think I've ever told this on the podcast before. You're that smart, huh?
No, I-
Spelling bees.
No, I
heard
fe-
that one before.
I feel like.
You can input drummer. You can input rhythm guitarist.
Yeah, I think I've heard it with just another subject in there besides bass player. That's all.
Mike spelled the word loquacious.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, and I spelled interminable.
You did spell interminable.
Oh my god!
And it took me a long time to spell it too. It was
so
interminable.
miserably at this.
But the funny thing is that I'm learning as I keep doing it is that the words that I'm convinced no one is going to get, people get, and the words I'm like, oh, these are throwaway words. People are like, and I'm like, wait, how do I keep getting this wrong? Like the words that I think are really, really hard apparently are easy.
Do you want to test Mike real quick? I don't want to put you on the spot, but
You don't have, no, you don't have to tell.
if you have one in the vault,
Is there one in the chamber?
There's always one in the chamber. But actually, I think I want to do one that we used at the spelling bee because I think it was everybody's favorite word, tchotchke.
Yeah,
Oh,
tchotchke
wow.
was a great word, and I
Tchotchke's a
felt
great word.
so bad.
We had some debate over it.
Yeah, well, you had 2 Jews as the judges, so there was no reason why, and 2 married Jews as the judges,
Yes.
married to each other. So
Yes.
there's no reason why you should have any.
man, that's stumping me.
It should be five opinions in that judge's chamber. TCH
Ah, fucking T.
OTCHKE.
That's right.
Wow.
That's it. Because we had one other word. So Akila had.
She was dynamite.
She was.
Akila's the best.
She's so
She was
fantastic.
sharp, yeah.
So funny, and she's a very good speller.
She skipped 5th grade.
And so we gave her a word, and she's like, "Listen, you guys, I'm really stoned right now, and I'm still taking this shit seriously than like half the people up here. So I respectfully request another word." And the judges were like, "Fuck, all right, yeah, we're gonna give you another word."
For the listener, they page to the back of the.
Just,
Wow.
And they gave her another word. And then Sunita, when she got tchotchke, was like, "Listen, I'm Indian.
Yeah.
I don't spell Jewish words." And so
Yeah, give me a new word.
Our judges were like, "That's very anti-Semitic of you. So no, you have to spell it."
She got, yeah. They pulled the New York card right away.
It
on
was
her.
great. And so he's like, Josh is like, "Fine, I'll give you another word. Tchotchkes."
Oh.
Add an S on the end. It's different.
Oh Lord. Some pleasant people that you assembled that night.
Yeah, it was a good time.
We'd love to get Sam over here sometime. He seems like a good
Yes.
personality.
You should totally have Sam on. Sam is great on a podcast. He's super funny and just entertaining and smart and nice and
Can't say enough nice things.
Wow,
Yes.
so
Good
the
dude.
Adventures of Danny and Sam, it's got a good ring to it. You just sold them pretty good.
wow.
I'm busy. I don't know if I'll guest. I can guest.
You can come in as a guest anytime.
I feel like if you work for the New York Post for those like New York Post covers,
yeah.
they're so predictable sometimes. When something shitty happens,
Mhm.
like, do you think that there's a template made? Like, there's a guy's like, oh, let me just do the work now. I put Heidi Klum's head onto a sea turtle body. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they're just like, get this form ready, just in case we'll,
They
have
just
this
pull from a possible New York Post Reddit subpage. Subreddit right there.
potential.
That's all. And they just go
potential
through
New
and be
York
like, what
Post.
happened today in the news? And you go to this subreddit and you have all these fake New York Post articles.
Oh Lord.
So
They
somebody
just pick and choose.
Somebody said something, I think it was today, where they said a lot of the headlines of 2018 sounded like someone just spun a wheel and like pulled things.
That's
And
fair.
the example was the thing about what's his name? The guy who created Twitter, Jack Dorsey. And it was like Jack sent his beard hair to what's her name?
Azalea
Banks.
It's
to
just very
create,
weird
like,
pairing.
an amulet to protect him from ISIS or something. And someone was like, this entire headline sounds made up.
Yeah, like it was
every
generated.
bit of it.
Yeah, like it was generated by a bot just crawling
Yes.
and looking at words on the internet.
Yeah, like those bots.
Need a
that
band name? Generate.
generate.
Need a headline? Generate.
Indie rock
They do
album.
the scripts now, though, right? Or they just take like huge groups of words and teach a bot to read them, and then they output this weird script based on.
I think you're thinking of a Twitter meme.
No, I think,
That's a Twitter meme.
no. I mean, basically, I don't know. They always say the headline is always, "I forced the bot to listen to 500 hours of the
It's a meme.
Yeah,
They didn't actually force a bot to anything.
there's
Also,
always
I thought they
there's
did
always
it first
images
and
of
then it
scripts
became a
though.
meme.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like it's had to have happened.
It had to happen at least
become-
once.
It's also
To
confusing.
become a
neural-
meme, it has to actually
It has to be
happen.
true once.
Yeah.
Like the kid with the neck.
Oh, no neck.
Yeah. Oh no,
Lack of
long
neck.
neck.
What are you talking about?
There's like a long neck kid and
don't think I
a
know that
wide
one.
neck kid. There's a kid with a really wide neck.
Oh wait,
That was the
okay. I
meme
think
of
I
That's
know.
the
And then there
guy.
was a
That
neck
was
kid.
that was a mugshot.
Yeah, and then there was a
Okay.
neck, but then he met up with a kid with a really long neck.
Oh, the little skinny kid.
Yes. Oh, such a weird
I don't
video.
understand.
They could-
I don't understand how that happened.
We're not qualified to comment
We're
on
not
I
that
was
stuff.
in the
qualified.
airport recently and I overheard this woman saying, "People don't even make jokes anymore. It's just memes."
I think you would be very good at making jokes. I want to see you on Lane Moore's Tinder Live.
Oh yeah.
Don't you think you would be good on that? Don't you think
Absolutely.
Elle would be good on that?
Yeah.
You would
That's
be.
where you guys were on
I've-
Tinder Live.
She has
I've done
had.
it a couple times. It's fun as hell.
She
Yeah.
hasn't had. I don't think she's had Sunita, but she has had Samhita on a few times.
Okay.
Both she's had her on the episode that I did, and you've had some good ones, haven't you? You had some good pairings.
Yeah.
Like wine and cheese.
Yeah, mostly wine and cheese.
I have to just bought her new book,
How to Be Alone.
How to Be Alone.
Mhm.
Yes. But I've seen her show a few times and it's always a
You've
good
been to the
time.
live show.
Been to the live show. It's
I-
funny.
I
Very
feel like
funny.
you
I don't
would
think
set-
the book is anything like the live show.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
I feel like you could set the live show on fire though with Elle,
Thank
with
you.
with Lane Miss Elle.
Paging Lane Moore.
She may be listening. She is a former guest.
If you think that Elle should appear on Lane Moore's Tinder now, please call and let us know at 347-470-8150. It's
We
Danny
won't
and
talk to you now, but you can leave a message and we might respond to
Yeah, messages of encouragement, neutral, and even light disparagement are accepted. we're you know what? Because we're not brittle anymore. We've got a hard outer shell. I evolved this over the last billion years, and we can deal with this stuff,
An exoskeleton.
if you will.
Oh, that's a good word for the spelling bee.
Exoskeleton.
Exoskeleton?
Yep.
I think I could nail that one. Ready?
Oh, actually, you know what? Now, since I have like a focus group in
Here we
front of
are.
me
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the moment,
Mhm.
so this is what I was going to do for the next one because Mike can tell you we had a lot of fun at the first one.
We did.
But the lightning round was hugely popular, and I sort of think I want to do it sooner in the game, because like we just couldn't knock people out because
Because we
were
kept
really
spelling
good.
correctly.
Yeah, and so that was our time issue for the most part because I just don't want us to be rushing so much at the end next time. So I was thinking what we would do is like a couple regular rounds of spelling, and then we do lightning to knock some people out, and then the final two people should have to do like an anagram where we give them a word, and then they have to come up with as many words out of the
They
word.
have to play boggle or just like one word boggle.
Just one word will be, and we'll
Anagram.
have it like projected onto the thing so that they can just look at it.
Tops, spot,
Yeah.
pots, stop.
Because also, you know, the audience is going to yell shit.
Race car,
yeah.
Because
race car.
A race car,
when
but
somebody would
backwards.
pause for a long time, you'd hear someone in the audience go, S. Like, really?
It was very intimate. It was not only was it very intimate, some people brought family members.
And people
so
got mad. Like, people
Yeah.
would be like, and we're looking around.
the sisters' parents, like
Yes.
who were good for stage parents. I
Yes,
thought, like, I met a
they
lot of
were.
stage parents in my
Yes.
life, and
They were.
the family was good. It was a good
Yes, and
family.
I've known them a while now.
That's
and
good.
That was why I asked them, because their parents are such nice, lovely people.
There you go.
And I knew that if I just explained to them what it was, like the great thing was I barely explained it. I was like, "Hey, so I'm doing this thing," and the dad was like, "Sure," like, and I mean, asking them, and they were
I feel like
"Yeah, yeah, we
I feel
really
like
wanna do
Dominic
it."
came through the same way. He was
Dominic?
like, "Can I wear my Rutgers gear?" Yes, you can.
Hofstra.
He's from Long Island.
No, he's from Jersey, but he went to
He went to Hofstra.
He goes to Hofstra.
I associated it for some reason.
With
yeah, but he
Rutgers.
did have.
Did he,
but
was
he
he
did.
wearing Rutgers
No, he
stuff?
had top to bottom Hofstra. You're right.
Okay.
But I thought he was from
Because I'm like,
Jersey.
wait, no, I can't remember. But he brought like 20 kids from
Podcast
Hofstra.
is over. We ruined the whole thing. We were talking about a
Yeah.
kid.
He brought
who I
a-
thought was
he
from
brought a
Rutgers,
posse.
Like
Yes.
25 minutes ago. We got to cut the podcast, man.
No, it's one take.
You know what was
That's-
great
sorry.
about him too is after the spelling bee, people kept asking me, because everyone else, had TV credits and film credits, or were known.
Like, what do I know Dominic
yeah,
from? What do I
stand-up
know
comedians.
Dominic from?
And people kept saying to me, who's Dominic? Who is the kid? Actually, they were saying, who's the kid who was pretending to be a Hofstra student because he was hilarious? And I said, no, he
actually is
is a Hofstra student. And they were like, no, he's like on stuff. I know him from stuff. And I'm like, no, he's in
English
school.
102.
He's majoring in,
The
film.
Sepulveres.
If you know
the
him, you should
Sepulveres
really be
effect.
1,000 feet away from that school zone.
He's just,
I didn't know.
I'm just
know.
saying.
I didn't know.
You could have somebody on your hands that knows him from hanging around at places that adults shouldn't hang out.
oh,
Like
that's
Rutgers.
creepy.
Sorry, I
Oh,
didn't mean to bring it back
We've
down
covered
here.
a lot
Speaking
of
of where
stuff in this
adults
episode.
shouldn't hang out, I feel like I should start having the spelling bee on college campuses.
This would
Oh,
be a good
absolutely.
idea.
And like
Yeah.
maybe flirting with I shouldn't say that. I won't flirt with any college boys. I'm too old for that.
You can flirt with the idea of flirting with college boys, and that's just fine.
I can joke about it.
Half your age plus 7.
What about graduate students
Yeah, that's okay.
See?
Graduate students are okay.
in the wheelhouse?
Yeah.
God,
Mhm.
they have to have a diploma.
Elle, you must have some.
Associates.
You
or
must have
better.
some plugs
You-
that you want to give us. Some.
Well, I'm
Other than
yeah,
the February
yeah.
15th show at the
February
UCB
15th,
Hell's Kitchen.
Yes, that's
That's
right.
a plug.
You should read tomorrow. There's a movie that's going to be out on Netflix called Bird Box. I am not in it.
You're not in it.
I'm plugging it because I wrote a piece for InStyle.com about it.
Okay.
So you should watch
cool.
it and then read
And then
it.
read my piece with
Yes.
the Bird Box in mind.
Okay.
Exactly, because it's a very good piece. Thank you very much. But it's also a really good movie, written by the same guy who wrote Arrival with Amy Adams, which I really
love that
loved. I
movie.
loved that movie.
Yeah,
Bird Box
surprisingly.
is with
maybe.
Sandra Bullock and John Malkovich being very John Malkovich-y, and Trevante Rhodes, and it's Danielle McDonald who's in that movie Dumplin' on Netflix. If you watch that,
Currently on
she's-
Which was
Netflix.
really incredible.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and
you watched
Did
it?
you
I
see
did
Patty
watch it.
Cake? She's great in Patty Cakes too.
I didn't see that.
Isn't that about Jersey?
It's about Jersey.
Made me
And
think
I
of Chunky
believed
Pam.
She was a Jersey girl because I was like, oh, finally someone who doesn't overdo how it sounds like from Jersey. She's Australian.
Totally. Yes.
They can nail our accents so well.
I think she's incredible.
They're good.
And what
let me
about
think.
Twitter and all the?
Oh yes, follow me on Twitter at LSEP ELLESEP.
She's got, but don't ever slight her or wrong her because revenge will be visited when you least expect it and when you're vulnerable.
Look,
man.
we're really sorry that it rained. We had nothing to do with it. We had no control over the
Yeah.
rain.
Listen, I'm
Okay.
part Sicilian. I'm not unreasonable.
Okay. Well, I'm part Sicilian too, and I'm completely unreasonable.
I'm Neapolitan and I want the both of you to just get
I'm
along.
partly Neapolitan.
See, I knew we got along
Isn't it,
for a
or
reason.
isn't it Napolitan?
Napolitan.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I didn't know who was going to understand it in there. Definitely not you.
Oh, God,
I love
now-
Neapolitan
I was
ice
just
cream.
gonna say
I don't know.
could
That's
really
a-
go for some Neapolitan
Oh,
ice cream.
definitely, 100%.
For the listener, drool is appearing on our mandibles right now.
I got a spot in Bensonhurst. We're all going right now. Neapolitan ice cream. Let's do it.
Go.
All right.
Get the cabs,
Thank you very much.
Danielle.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Thanks,
for hanging
Al.
out.
Fun.
Yeah, this is wonderful.
The Adventures of Danny and Mike stars Danny Tamborelli and Michael C. Marona. The show is produced by me, Jeremy Baylor. This podcast is part of the Last Podcast Network, which can be found at lastpodcastnetwork.com. Make sure to check that out for a ton of great shows. For more information on the guys, visit our website at dannyandmike.com. Also look us up on Twitter at Danny and Mike with the N spelled out, and on Facebook at facebook.com/The Adventures of Danny and Mike. Thanks for listening.